Hip hip!
Thank you so much. So without any further waste of time, let me invite to the podium the University of Venda Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Lunwabo Botwe Khazia, who will come and handle the first item, opening and welcome address. Please put your hands together as we welcome the COO to the floor.
Good morning, everybody. So, as I was preparing my welcome address for this occasion this morning, a song played in my head, "Oh Happy Day." This is one of those days that has been made for us to celebrate and to acknowledge the good work that's been done. Botobere MPGHR of the Chibase dynasty, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor NTHAMBELENI, the Executive Management Committee of the University of Venda, Senior Management Committee members, distinguished guests, members of council, welcome and good morning. Good morning. Nimacheron, Abshen, Molweni, Nanzok. It's my honor and privilege this morning to welcome you to the University of Venda. This is a historic occasion. We gather here a few times a year to celebrate successes. We celebrate our graduates when they pass through the stage. We celebrate milestones. But today we're here to start something new. We're here to set history in motion. This is a very important day, and a day that many of us will not forget. But it's also a day for us to acknowledge our colleagues who've been working tirelessly to make sure that this day happens in establishing the centers, in establishing the institutes. We understand that coming to Thohoyandou is not the easiest of exercises. It's a long drive, the airports are far, far away, but you made it here, and that means something to us. So thank you for being here. So today, the launch of these centers and institutes reflects our commitment as a university to be a university that is responsive to its environment. We are a rural-based university. We are what is classified as historically disadvantaged, but we punch above our weight. We're a university that is poised for growth. We're a university that is laying the foundations for its future success. The centers and institutes we are launching today represent the next frontier of university's strategic direction. We want to strengthen our contribution to human rights, to African languages and culture, to African musicology, to rural development, governance, pathogen research, and advanced scientific instrumentation. These are not just academic specializations, colleagues. These are national, continental, and global initiatives. This launch also reflects our government's commitment to expanding research and innovation and capacity in universities like ours. It reinforces that the University of Venda may be a rural-based university, but we have a national mandate. We're the anchor institution that drives development in rural spaces. Today, we also honor the extraordinary individuals whose names some of the centers have been named after. Chief Justice Ismail Mahomed, Dr. Eskia Mphahlele, Dr. Eric Mathivha, and President Oliver Reginald Tambo. These are towering figures whose lives exemplify excellence, service, intellectual leadership, and sacrifice. Their legacies will continue to inspire the work undertaken in these centers. But it also reminds us that excellence is not abstract. It's rooted in struggle, in service, and in sacrifice. What this means for the university's future is that we're opening new possibilities. We're opening possibilities for groundbreaking African-centered research, for postgrad training of the highest quality, for innovation that improves the livelihoods of our communities, for partnerships that bring global expertise and investment in the Limpopo province, for a university whose influence extends far beyond the Bembe district. These centers not only elevate research output, they will cement Univen's standing as a thought leader in areas of strategic importance. So we have an exciting program for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. I'm sure you've seen our traditional dancers this morning giving us amazing performances. We'll also be having some presentations from our esteemed guests this morning. So the program is jam-packed with amazing things. Stay with us, celebrate with us, and let's all create future leaders together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Operating Officer. Let's give you another round of applause. So I'm now going to invite the Director, Strategy and Risk, Dr. Tambo, who will come and give us the background and strategic roles of the respective centers of excellence and institutes. So please join me as I welcome Dr. Tambo to the floor.
Thank you, Program Director, for giving me this opportunity to provide strategic imperatives of our Centers of Excellence and Institutes. But before I could do that, I would like to indicate that I'm riding on the protocols established by the COO. But when he left the podium, he has indicated that he has left one protocol that he cannot do because he's a COSA. So I would like to call upon Vamusanda, Dokotela, VSRC, and complete the last protocol for us.
I'm sure most of us are quite familiar with how we vendors do when His Majesty is amongst us. Valavane vasapfezvine ndakwamba rine rodzura nepotsini kare vasimbedzise zvorotisani vatu vadonjoina richiko uluva kari luve. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. That is a demonstration of our Vision 2040 strategy. Our Vision 2040 strategy is anchored on two niche areas: African heritage and indigenous knowledge system, and One Health. So the first part, which is an African heritage and indigenous knowledge system, that is what was demonstrated by Vamusanda VSRC. The University of Venda Vision 2040 strategy serves as our blueprint to advance our motto of building future leaders. We want to build our future leaders for the 21st century through effective teaching, learning, research, and community engagement. And for the Vision 2040 to be realized, we are establishing centers of excellence and institutes. They will be the driving force behind our vision of being a university leading in engaged scholarship. They will function as an engines of innovation, knowledge translation, drive science for society agenda. They will ensure that they converge together so that they can address local development challenges together with the global imperative. Our centers of excellence and institutes, they will open the doors for our researchers to make meaningful contributions to the national system of innovation through participation in the open innovation science and contribute directly to the policy networks. In doing so, they will elevate the university role as a leader in advancing African development priorities and shaping the future through the knowledge that matters most to our community. Thank you very much, Program Director.
So thank you so much, Dr. Ratombo. I think he also deserves another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have a great pleasure to invite our keynote speaker, who is not new to the University of Venda, Dr. Mphahlele, the Chief Operating Officer of the South African Qualifications Authority. Please join me as I welcome Dr. Mphahlele to the floor.
Good morning, Wamsanda. Somebody was surprised when I was, I said, no, I'm the son of the soil. So there's nothing new. And to the VC, colleagues, when University of Venda calls, you can't say no. I had a prior engagement when I was with the VC in Colombia. So we have to look after each other because we were told that if you don't work in pairs, you might disappear. So as we were maneuvering the streets of Colombia together, the VC asked me, he didn't tell him that it's his birthday, because I should have sent me a WhatsApp this morning, to say, I'd like you to come to my birthday. So he was so noble saying to me, we have a big day at the University of Venda. And I said, I can't say no to that VC. My team were not happy with me at work, but I told them, you don't know. If University of Venda calls, show up. Don't ask what is there to do. So I'm very grateful to be here. And to have even Prof. Nevotalo. We worked together on a project somewhere in DUT, and having worked with him for quite some time. And to the DVCs, the COO, my counterpart, thank you very much for welcoming me to the institution. And I'm very grateful and humble to be part and parcel of the celebration. And most people, when they say you work for SAQA, they don't know what is it that we do. They think we're a great institution. And one of the things that we did when we came in as a current executive, we used the word renaissance of SAQA in terms of how do we rebirth ourselves. And I felt that coming here today is talking to that as well. The institution is trying to, look at itself saying we are in this position and we want to change that perception about us as an institution. I was once a lecturer here, and I'm glad to see when you're launching the Center for Mass Spectroscopy, we didn't even have most instruments when I was lecturing in chemistry. But we did what we could. We produced publications, we trained honor students. When you train them, we know who comes and picks them up. Our counterparts who called Advantage. So we make them more advantaged by recruiting some of our students. So it's really an honor to come and really share some of the things and celebrate the institution. I just want to give you a little bit of background when you spoke of a renaissance of SAQA. We talk about a simplified, responsive, and future-focused NQF. The NQF is the National Qualification Framework. And why this is important to what is happening today, when the new dispensation came into power, the SAQA Act was the first Education and Training Act that was approved by government. And at the forefront of the SAQA Act was labor at Harvard, and then came the education system. So you can see that whatever we do, it is informed by what's happening in the workplace and what's happening at the institution as well. So the Renaissance is more about, how do you see yourselves as an organization? And I want some of this to be the take home for the University of Venda. We feel that we're trying to be very simple and thinking of the future, where we are going as an organization. One of the things that, there's 3 things that we chose for the next 5-10 years of our leadership. We are in the field of service. So what do you mean by that? So when you talk service, you say we look at ourselves as an organization to say we're looking at internal excellence. So one of the things that we have done to try and look internally, it was to build capacity, to look into our youngsters. And not only that, to ensure that we respond to the needs of the country by saving jobs. And I'll show you how this is linked to the centers as well. And when you say internal excellence, it means whoever calls upon you, you must be able to respond and give them support. And we are, as a public entity, gave service to the public. So everybody else who comes to our organization has to make sure that we serve them with a smile. And everything that you do, it must be informed by evidence. That's where influence comes in. So you don't just do things without having evidence. And what I like about today's day, it's more about for you to be able to be taken serious. Everything that you do, it has to be underpinned by scholarship. So the issue of evidence-based means there has to be a deeper thinking around what is it that you do as well. The issues around relational. When you talk about centers and institutes, it's about collaboration. So the one thing that you pick up issue around relational is that we need to be able to relate better. And not only that, we say the continent first. And when you talk about collaboration, especially some of us who are in the South, we think of Europe. So we do have one of the best institutions in the continent that can really form a relationship with. And we are result-driven as an organization as well. And I hope, this is what I'll share with you in terms of my understanding of how centers should be driven. So one of the things that we thought we have to be driven is to capacitate the continent. We are the benchmark of NQF in the world. When people ask me, go and benchmark, I say, no, people benchmark against us. I'm hosting Italians and Spanish next week to come and learn from us. It's the other way around. We don't learn from them anymore. So the University of Venda should be that institution to say, as a rural base, we manage to move, and there's a level that I don't like about our institution. Historically, just a very institution. We are not. People who work here, Professor Natasha knows we struggle. We didn't have test tubes, but here you are a professor. So it shows that we move from being disadvantaged to be advantaged. And I want us to make, to say, the way we are today, we are no longer disadvantaged. We happen to be in rural. We must respond to rural issues, rural challenges, to ensure that we expose our rural children to the world that they've never seen and go and compete in those global stages as one of the best students. So we have done it as academics here. We have done it as an institution. So to me, it's very important that not only that, as we build capacity, let's think about the continent as well. I mean, Zimbabwe is next door to us. What is it that we are doing with Zimbabwe? How are we helping Eswatini to grow? So it's very important that as we grow as a continent, people take us serious. We have one of the most precious assets in the world. It's our youth. And people are coming to steal our youth. Let's make sure that we prepare them, and not only that, that they come back home to come and serve what we have. When you say you're results driven, you have to make sure that as you build this institute and centers, you have to be results driven. The reason why you're doing that, people are going to judge you in terms of the investment that was made by the university. Not only that, we have funders who will be able to come and put their funds ahead of us. And one of the things that we use at SAQA we use our service influence results is more about NQF to the village. And people thought we were crazy when we were coining this term. It says we are taking every NQF to the village. I was in Kamashamba 4 months ago, talking to people on the streets, talking to those guys who were herding cattle, telling them about the NQF, how you can help them, how you can improve their lives. So whatever you do in the centers, remember it's about capacity. It's not about producing PhD and masters. What kind of skills that we need to be able to, to pick them up and help our people. And, go to Chakuma market. The people who have been training for so many years, how do you improve their lives to make sure they're up to date with the current technology? How do you ensure that you don't pay cash anymore? We use whatever is available to make sure that they can do transaction. And that's what attracts people to this side when they come this side, they have to go to Chakuma market. So whatever you do, it has to be result driven. And result driven means it has to influence whatever happens within the community. And one of the things that you have to create as a center is a public dialogue. So you have to be able to have conversations around your progress so that people can critique and give you feedback around what is it that we do. So one of the things that we have done as well as part of our results is to really have a conversation. The conversation we just had recently as SAQA, we just had a SAQA, we were celebrating our 30 years as we exist as an NQF. And to be able to reflect in terms of where we are and to allow people to come and critique us where we lack as an organization and where to take us to the next future. So it's important that we create those public dialogue VC to make sure that we come back here, not only when you launch, 6 months down the line to say, we're here, we have produced so many things, this is where the gaps are, and allow the public to come and be part and parcel of those conversations. And one example that I like to give to the team here when you talk about influence, one of the work that we do very greatly is called Africa Continental Coalition Framework. So one of the things maybe you have to pick up one thing that you want to influence is to make sure that you capacitate our researchers, not only that, not to be trained them to do postdoc. What I see in South Africa, people go through all this training up to doctoral level, and then they don't have jobs to do anything. Then they continue to study further to do postdoc. People, can do 2-3 postdocs because we don't have plan for them. So whatever we coin in our centers along our research, just to be something that talks to the gap in the country that we are trying to address. Not something that is driven by myself, by my own thing to say, look, here I am, this is my niche, and I want everybody to publish. Let's solve some of the problems that we have. And those things can turn into PhD. Let's not have people to continue to go beyond PhD. And one of the things that we have to look into as well, how do you make sure that whatever we harvest as a PhD, it comes out as a product that is very innovative, that can solve our problem. One of us here a few years back, we had a problem of water in Makado and across this, because you know what happened to our water pumps. They were dysfunctional, but yet we had a university, yet we had TVET colleges. So you must be able to look at those problems within our communities to say, with our centers of excellence, you must be able to come in and solve that particular problem so that it doesn't cost us money. And that money flows back into the institution. It doesn't go to entrepreneurs. So our thinking must shift. We shouldn't do things as business as usual. It has to be, how do you think differently going forward? So for us, the issue was, how do you strengthen our collaboration of all national frameworks within the continent? The question is, how do you strengthen your research capacity to ensure that it influences our municipalities? It guides them in terms of advice. We have one of the best centers in terms of, where you have to talk about political dialogue. How do we influence that to a municipality to make sure that they're well functioning, can be able to help them in managing some of these things? And one of the things that you have to look at is your key functions. How do you ensure that you're going to share that knowledge? What platforms are you going to create around the Centers Institute? How are you going to promote best practices as far as research is concerned? So to me it says, how do you become the benchmark? Not relying on, it's done like this in Europe, to say, indigenous knowledge system. We are the founders of, I had this term for the first time when I was at the University of Venda, when I was still a lecturer, before I came back as a director. IKS, we've been talking IKS since, those days. And we have to be the best in IKS. People must come to us to benchmark against us. How do you enhance capacity building within the space of higher education and within the communities? For us, the challenge was, how do we ensure that everybody else understands what is it that we do as an organization? And what drove us as well, based on the reflection that we had at our conference, it makes us come with what we call our new thinking as an organization. And we look in terms of the things that we do. And we realize that there's about 4 or 5 things that we really have to talk about. One of the first things that we realize that we have as an instrument that is underutilized in this country is the recognition of prior learning. We're sitting here as an institution, we have policies that we're supposed to be rolling out. What is the role of Center of Excellence to ensure that they bring people who are not in a formal education sector, to bring them into the education sector and obtain qualifications, not honorary degrees, colleagues. We have this tendency of honoring people, give them PhDs, says honorary so and so. Let's pick up people like that. And we have one good example I always give to everybody else. We have Mama Hlangu, the woman who designed the most expensive BMW in the world. You look at that woman's painting, it's a mathematical equation, a very complex one. So why can you not give a PhD in mathematics? How is that difficult? Through RPL, because you can be able to interpret her work, support her, and write in her own language. So when you do RPL, let's not use English. Let's use Venda. If we want to help our people to be able to acquire qualification, let's stop using English. And I'm glad that when you introduced our king, you spoke in Venda, so that whether people didn't hear you, they better learn. We have, ChatGPT can be able to tell us what is that. Ask Prof how we cope in Colombia. We always set our phones with us. When somebody was speaking, we just tap in. That's what they're trying to say to us. So it's very important that the issue of RPL becomes one of the drivers that the centers must be able to uphold. When I come, Prof, 2 years down the line, I want to see people who have been admitted through your centers using RPL, and they have to be local people. You don't have to get somebody outside Venda to come to be admitted in our centers with RPL. And with us, we link RPL with entrepreneurship. And the reason why we coin RPL and entrepreneurship, because we feel that not everybody else that comes to the institution must be academic, but they have to create jobs. One of the biggest challenges that we have in this country is job creation. And entrepreneurship should be one of the things that institutions and centers must focus on, to say, how do you ensure that whoever we produce, they can be able to get out of here and create jobs and employ other people. And how we apply this model as an organization, we are piloting across the country. So we work with TVET colleges and the community. When I was in Hamashamba, so we're working in Venda College to say, we're going to help the local people. We're not looking at those, because you are covered, you have degrees. So you're looking at people who have never been to school, who are local. So you're going to identify them, whether those who are working either in selling in spaza shops, those who knows how to fix cars, and those who can do a variety of things that they've been living like that for a very long time. And then we help them to assess them in terms of where they sit. And we allow the TVET to be able to award them a qualification so that they can be able to be recognized and do business with government. Most of people cannot get tenders is because they know how to do the job, because they don't have paper to support them. So one of the ambitious projects that we're trying to drive is to say, we're going to use RPL entrepreneurship, trying to help the villagers to be able to grow and become better people. And I expect the centers to be able to use the very same model, but at the research level. Allow those who have been writing, because they don't have an NPF level 8 or 9, that means that we shouldn't allow them in our system. So let's allow issues of open access into our institutions. And some of them cannot. I mean, we have Bamsanda here. He's a leader of himself. So what is that? Bamsanda, you must say no to honorary degree. They must give you a PhD in terms of your leadership. Honorary doesn't say anything. So to say, we have a leader, we are together as a nation, we are growing, we see growth, we see there's a whole lot of projects that are happening, there's advice that comes from Bamsanda. So how do you ensure in management, the Faculty of Management, to honor Bamsanda to say, we are going to RPL you, we are going to make sure that you come out at this level and you can be able to award this particular qualification. And we are the stumbling blocks, colleagues, of transformation in the country. I cannot be addressing this unit about RPL. I can do it at UP, but it's very worrying if we're not doing it here. One of the things that I feel that we have to look at as centers, artificial intelligence. You say with us, colleagues, we cannot run away from it. AI is here with us, but how to use AI responsibly. Not to ask AI questions, to write things down. One thing we've trained they must know how to read and write. It's something that we have lost with IT. So you write first, then you can consult, because you can be able to verify what AI is trying to tell you. But we have all these tools that can not only help us even to utilize data. We have so much data that we are not utilizing as a country. And that's referring to us as SACWA as well. We have the biggest national learners record database in the world, and we're the only country in the world that has the database. But how we utilize database to inform policy and direction of the country, we're not doing it. So it's very important that, in this quagmire of data and artificial intelligence, can you just utilize to make sure that it informs VC in terms of, how the institution is at the moment, how many PhDs we're going to produce, where they're going to go those PhDs, and how they're going to support the growth of the country. The third leg that I feel that's something that we have to look at, because as centers, we call it macro-credentials. And why I'm using this term, and most of the time when I address people internationally, I said, we invented macro-credentials in South Africa. We used to call them uni standards. And what uni standards has done to the country, they managed to make sure that people are employed in the banking sector, in the retail industry. If you check, most people who are in those sectors, they don't have degrees, but they have grown in those because of our uni standards. So why the word uni standard? And I mean, people may ask themselves, why do I have to look at my credentials as a center? One of the things that we have to look at the Centers Institute is issues around skills. You know, sometimes we might not require somebody to go through, maybe we might require somebody to learn a particular skills in data interpretation. To say, you know, this is how I interpret data. It's a very skills focus. And it can be micro-credentials because you don't want to put it under SLP because they're not recognized. With micro-credentials, what we are doing at SAQA, we look in terms of how can you recognize micro-credentials. And this way, I mean, we can work very closely together to say, you know, we'll have this in a system when somebody has gone through this, they can be able to find jobs and utilize that kind of skills that they've acquired. So it's important that you don't only look at producing PhDs and postdocs and masters, but how do you look at those niche or future thinking skills that might be, you know, presented to ourselves. One of the fourth things that we do, I mean, and I'll share with you, is a research share. So when I came to SAQA, we said we are a knowledge organization. But how do you get there? And thanks to Prof. Nevotal, because we work with him very closely to be able to come with NQF research share. And that's another way of trying to build capacity within any research organization. So it was important for us to have that chair. And we are thinking bigger than that. We are thinking the UNESCO, the chair of NQR. And this is where institutions like University of Venda will be looking at them to be partners in trying to really raise the bar along the NQF because, as I say, I mean, we are the custodian, we are the first generation of NQF, we are the benchmark. But how you utilize that benchmark to inform academic thinking. So we'll be looking up to you, the centers of excellence and the institute, to be able to help us to shape and be able to inform the world what is that we have to do. The fifth one that I feel that becomes very important is around collaboration. We are part of the global convention. South Africa signed that, but we are part of the Addis Convention. So why that becomes very critical is how to capacitate our centers and institute. We might not have capacity for now. We might have 1 or 2 people. And the only way to make centers and institute excellent is to recruit peers within the continent, outside the continent. And global convention working such that it's about recognition. So when somebody has to come down, it's important that, you know, they play in that space, they are recognized in their qualification. You can be able to verify that. That's the role of SAQA as well, to verify somebody's qualification. And then we help in terms of allowing the movement of staff. Not only that, even students. Sometimes we might even require to recruit students outside our institutions to make sure that we are global as institute and centers as well. So the issue of global convention is us responding to the need and to make sure that we allow through movement of our academics, not only from us receiving, plus us sending people outside as well. So we need to keep our eye in terms of what is the role of global conventions? What is that we can contribute as institutions and centers as well? So just to pause a little bit, just to give a background in terms of what is that we do as an organization, just to reflect a little bit. So we are responsible to coordinate the whole initial qualification framework. So anything else that is an NQF from NQF level 1 to 10, we are responsible for it. We verify qualifications and foreign qualifications. So for you to get a visa from outside, you need SAQA to do that. So you have to come through us to be able to work in the country. If you want to leave the country, you still have to go through us as well. So we have the database that I shared with you, that we have this massive data that I feel with the centers you can be able to add value to the data rather than say, well, I'm showing this number doesn't have a meaning as well. We promote collaboration between educational institutions, employers, global stakeholders by enhancing mobility and trust. I think I gave you an example to say, you know, for you to come to the country, work through the Department of Home Affairs to get a visa. We allow you to leave the country as well. So we play that critical role to make sure that we strengthen collaboration. So as partners to the center's PROF Institute, I mean, you can use us for that. We support policy development and raises public awareness. So one of the things that we do, we'll really like to learn from our centers around issues of policy development and how can we support and grow with you as well. The last leg that we do is issues around misrepresentation. Colleagues, this is one of we call it the cancer in the country and all over the world globally. The new Amendment Act of SAQA allows us to look into issues of misrepresentation. We never had this. And the reason why this became important, we have seen people move from one institution to the other. They come to University of Venda, we realize that they have a fake qualification, they move to another institution. And we know those people, we don't want to name them. And what the government has done, they've revised the NQF Act, added issues of misrep into the Act. So SAQA now is responsible for reporting misrepresentation, and we'll be working with institutions to reach out in terms of how to report this misrep so that we can name and shame. We are allowed to do that. But what the Act has done is gone further to say, if somebody misrepresents themselves, they can go to jail and serve up to 5 years without having to challenge anything. So we have the Act that is supporting us around how we can deal with issues of misrep, and we're looking up to you to really form partnerships to ensure that we deal with people who are coming to our institution, to ensure that they really represent who they are. Now, how do we see this, the effect of misrepresentation? We end up, as institutions, even employers, employing people who are not qualified to do the work. And this leads to less productivity, and it damages our reputation, loss of credibility as an institution, to our poor learners, to be taught by somebody who's not qualified to teach you. So you could imagine how much damage it's doing to that particular learner. To the country, it impacts on the economy and human capital and undermines what you're trying to achieve. So it's important whoever we're trying to bring into our institute, they need to make sure that they indeed have achieved what they have. And, as I said, we are available to support you to verify that kind of information as well. And with all this effect, we end up with unemployment. That is why we have such a huge unemployment numbers in South Africa as well. Because, we know how much degrees are seen as dependable and trusted proxy, for bearers, for knowledge and for skills. Because there's limited awareness amongst employers and recruiters, we find ourselves with this problem that we have. And if our verification system is not tight enough, we don't work closely, we end up with a very difficult problem as well. So it's important that we work together to fight some of these crimes that we have, that we don't talk about them. I'll share with you 2 cases that we have, that we've dealt with to its finality. There was individual X that worked for a particular company as an executive manager. They claimed they had a national diploma in mechanical engineering. They have a doctorate from a university in Germany. And we investigated this, that was around 2015. And this person benefited from the system since then, up to 2019 when he intervened. And this particular person was convicted. He's now serving 15 years. So you could imagine how much it cost that company. For 5 years, somebody benefiting. And you're sitting at home, you're a graduate. I think to me, it all pains me to feel that. The second case, I think we all know, advisor to somebody who was part and parcel, self-independent non-executive director of the board of the JSC, claimed to have a PhD. And you know what happened in that particular case. So I'm trying to show you, if we work as partners to try and fight some of challenges that we have. And one of the things I always say when I address people to say, we have to make sure that we safeguard our trust. First thing for us to do that, we have to be able to collaborate as partners. We have to ensure that whatever you do is within the policy. We have to have awareness campaign about what you do as well. We have to make sure that whatever is offered in our institutions is indeed credible, is something that we can be able to defend. So now I just want to zoom in terms of why we're here today around Centers Institute of Excellence. As you know, that this idea started in 2002. I don't know how many of you know about the National Research and Development Strategy. It's when the VC was still on the other side. So they decided to develop this kind of thinking, and Prof. Prince was part of that as well. So the reason why this was developed, it was highlight the need to develop centers and networks of excellence, to envisage that these centers will nurture, sustain excellence in research, and generate highly skilled human resource capacity, to strengthen research collaborations, both locally and internationally, to ultimately impact key national and global knowledge areas. And no matter what you do, whatever we do, it doesn't have an impact, then you must as well close shop. So it's important that whatever you do, and this came out from the 2002 strategy that was developed. And zooming into the institutions, University of Venda, approach to Centers Institute. The idea here is rooted in creating an environment that supports innovative research. It's about knowledge transfer. It's about transformative leadership. Because if you don't have good leaders, we're not going to achieve anything. If there's no support, it's to align the university's goals with both national and global priorities. That's why I started with a strategy. So university is doing what it's doing today because they are doing the same power what the country is trying to do as well. And because of your rurality, you have to aim to maximize the societal and economic benefits of your research. You don't have to only emphasize academic achievement, but issues around practical application of research to solve the problems. And I'll give one example. When I was still a lecturer of chemistry here at the University of Venda, I said to my third-year students, how to ensuring that everybody who's selling, as you go out of our main gate, there are people who are selling fruits and vegetables and all those things. I said to them, how are you going to, your chemistry support that person? And to them, they were so lost because their understanding of chemistry was, mixing acid and a base, you have a neutral solution. So we spend time teaching them that. But I'll say, can you take that to a person who's outside and go and ask them? And they couldn't connect their chemistry to supporting somebody who's outside. I said to them, one of the biggest things that we're struggling with in the country is the emission of lead. So as they sell their fruits close to the road, it means emission of lead tend to fall on their fruits. And therefore that can have a health effect on you. And you have the School of Health Science as well. So you might end up being sick. But how to use your chemistry, maybe pick up those fruits. We analyze the amount of lead. So we did ask those fruits. And it was shocking. For somebody who was selling close to the street, somebody's about a few meters away from the street. So you can see how you transfer the theoretical knowledge to practicality. So I'm not taking something outside, it's something that is happening here in our institution. So you have to be able to practicalize that research. It shouldn't be something that gather dust, sit in our offices, you can never use it as well. The last thing that I feel that you need to look at as institute, you must contribute to sustainability development, especially for communities and the nation as large. The key activities that the institute has to look at in centers is issues around research, is how do you generate that new knowledge? How do you think forward? We talk about new jobs of the future. What is our role in influencing those jobs of the future? We're sitting with about 1 trillion rand on just energy transition. Where's Univen in that space? How are you going to make sure that you're going to tap in that presidential fund so that it sits at the institution? The second point, education and training. One of your biggest role is to build that human capital. And I shared with you micro-credentials as one good example. You are an information brokerage. So it means you are the one who keep that pool of knowledge, the database. And not only that, you must be able to share that knowledge and transfer it to other people. The fourth one, it's important that you collaborate, because without collaboration, I don't think you can achieve anything. And one of the biggest things I leave as the last one, your responsibility is to really render service. And I heard from the CEO and when they're speaking to the VC how selflessly work VC, because you are rendering service to the organization. They owe you that much. You must render service as those centers. And for you to be successful as centers and institute, one of the biggest things you must have is effective governance and management. Without structure, you cannot function. We have formed, it's important that you have a steering committee that will provide strategic direction to you, to be able to hold you accountable. You have to have a management committee. If you don't have effective management, it's a problem. Somebody has to lead and ensure that this happens. We cannot all be chiefs in the crop. There has to be one. You have to have staff that is diverse. It means as a center, you have to be multidisciplinary. Otherwise, you belong to a faculty. You are a center because you expect to be multidisciplinary. And you have to make sure that your institute, your center, has very strong local and international academic profile. You are strategically located. We're in a rural. We have all this agriculture around us. How you utilize that? And you have to be involved in establishing, other institutions. Support our TVET colleges. to raise the bar wherever they are. Let's build capacity around that as well. And not only that, make sure that you're strategically positioned and you have a clear strategy in terms of how you want to achieve these things. But we find ourselves struggling with the things that I just raised because, you know, as institutions, we tend to face some challenges. One of the biggest challenges, issues around innovation, sustainability, digitalization, and entrepreneurship. And I think to me, this is a new thing that we need to tweak as we coin these things. And we have to make sure that we have to adapt or we are going to die. Simple as that. You adapt or you die. And we have to rethink our operational models. It's not business as usual, it's business unusual. And one of the things that we struggle with, and I say this most of the time when I address people, as higher education institution, we struggle to convert. Change is the most difficult thing. You'll experience it as well, and I know you have done that. So to me, it's very important that you become more innovative, you become more practical, and not only that, you have to be able to scale up your research. So it's not something that ends in a lab. You must be able to work, and that's where the relationship with companies becomes very critical as well. Most of the time we do things of emotions. You have to have a proper plan, you must focus. And you have to have internal innovation policies that supports what's happening. And not only that, you have the VC that supports you, which is, to me, management support becomes very critical as well. And one thing that we struggle as well as an institution, and we say this all the time, closer engagement with industry and business is very important. How do you utilize that relationship? Do you have that relationship? Are they part of advisory? And Univen is one of the UNICO project. It's a SADC project that we're trying to help students, you know, to follow entrepreneurship. But what we do that is to ensure that we work close with industry. So let's utilize that UNICO project to try and enhance this. It's important that, you know, the industry university links become very strong. Not only now we see them once they disappear. Let's make sure that we engage. We ask them what are the things that we can solve, you know, with some of the challenges that we have. Issues around commercialization. I know that we are a university, but how do you bring that skills to support commercialization? How do you work with your tier, your innovation hub in Gauteng, or even develop our innovation hub because we are far from everything else this side? How are we going to capacitate the nation as centers? And we can only do this if we have robust support systems as a university, and we have access to experts in the IP space. We must be able to move our research from research outcomes to commercial use. And that again requires different skills. And I always say some of us have been very fortunate. I mean, I work at MinTech as an R&D, and you manage to do that, move things from the bottom to the high end. And you have those SOEs that you can be able to work with them very closely. As my part in short, I want to leave with these 4 questions. And I'm leaving this question because I really like what you've coined, VC, a university leading in engaged scholarship. So the 4 questions that I want to leave to those who are leading our centers. What problems or barriers do Univen face in sustainable innovation? The second question, what action should be taken to increase innovation potential at Univen? What are the means or instruments of innovation in academic environments? And for you to respond to those actions, it's easy to create 3 actions as means of steps for the next 6 to 12 months to say, this is how we are going to position ourselves. I'd like to thank you, VC, for the invitation. Everybody was here, and I wish you all of the best. I know that the institution is in good hands, and you're really driving the institution where it's supposed to be. And I'm looking forward to the term historically disadvantaged institution being removed from University of Venda to be the institution of choice, to be the institution of people who have to come and work, and not only that, and contribute to research. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mphahlele. That was indeed an insightful presentation. Colleagues, let's give him another big round of applause. So before we move to the next item, I would like to invite our band to give us an item.
I can't hear you. Can we talk about? Can we talk about? Can we talk about? Yeah. Can we talk about? I wanna talk about. Can we talk about? Yeah. Oh, baby, tonight we're gonna talk about feelings. Baby, tonight we're gonna talk about all the things that I've always wanted to lie. We're gonna be making up for all the time when I needed you and you were not there. You were not there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's worth indicating that the band that is entertaining us here, it's not coming from outside South Africa. It comes from here in South Africa. And I'm also glad to say that these are graduates of the University of Venda. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now have a great pleasure to invite the Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the University of Venda, Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, to come and deliver the launch address and to also unveil the Centers of Excellence and Institutes. So let's sustain our hands until the VC reaches the podium.
Thank you, Program Director. Let me start by acknowledging the presence of His Majesty Thobela MPGHR. Karelu. Also, let me recognize the Mayor of Makhado Municipality, Councillor Dimboyi. In the same vein, let me also acknowledge the presence of Councillor Sinyosi, who's representing the Executive Mayor of Venda District Municipality. Let me also recognize the presence of Dr. Vuwani from the South African Medical Research Council, Professor Wanyama from Kabarak University in Kenya, Mr. Tsiamo Muleme from DIET, Department of Higher Education and Training, Mr. Frank Mazibuko from the National Research Foundation, Dr. Sibusiso Manzini from the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Dan Matsapula from the South African National Space Agency, Mr. George Magwabeni from MMG Group, Mr. Shumani Rabwanzo from the Venda Department of Basic Education, who's a Senior Director, Dr. Tabo Mashongwane from the MQA, the CEO from MQA, Mr. Mashudu Mabungu, also the Group Executive HR from MQA, Ms. Julia Matumbu from Standard Bank in Johannesburg, Ms. Mulimo Krazia, Wafui with Dr. J.J. Chifularo, Dr. Prince Nebutaru, the former VC of the CPU team, Mr. Rendani Munjelele, the Senior Director of the Venda East Department of Basic Education. Also, let me recognize the presence of the Chief Operating Officer of the South African Qualification Authority and our guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Makampa Makafula, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Teaching and Learning, Professor Eusebius Likalakala Mphahlele, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Postgraduate Studies, Professor Furufero Netswera, the Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Botwe Krazia, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Chirizi Murauzi, the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Social Science and Education, Professor Tawanda Runare, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Management, Commerce and Law, Professor Barwa Kanyane, and the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science, Engineering and Agriculture, Professor Natasha Potkita, Directors of Institutes, Professor Pascal Besson, Professor Joseph Francis, Professor Madimawe Mapaya, and Professor Mudimwa Barwa Kanyane. Leaders of Centers of Excellence, Professor Ntakazeni Madara, Professor Ademola Jegede, Professor Natasha Pothite, Professor Kraus Shongwane, and also Professor Tawanda Runare. President of the VSRC, Mr. Tirani Mate, and the entire council, university senior management, our royal leaders and religious leaders, media practitioners, esteemed members of the academic community, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and our students. It is both an honor and privilege for me to stand before you today at this momentous occasion, the unveiling of our prestigious centers of excellence and also institutes. Today we celebrate not just the launch of the strategic initiatives, but the dawn of a transformative era for our university and the community that we serve. At the heart of our mission as an academic institution, it is what we call the pursuit of excellence. The establishment of these centers of excellence and also the institutes embodies our unwavering commitment to fostering innovation, research, and quality education. These centers and also institutes are designed to be hubs of collaborations, innovation, and knowledge generation and creativity, where students, faculty, and industry partners can come together to address some of the most pressing challenges of our time. As we unveil these centers and institutes, we must remember that they are more than just a physical spaces. They are manifestations of our vision for the future. They represent our ambition to be leaders in education, in research, and also in innovation, and to be on the forefront of the advancement in various fields, and also to contribute meaningfully to the society. Each center and institute will serve as a beacon of knowledge, drawing the brightest minds and fostering the environment where groundbreaking ideas can flourish. One of our key guiding principles of the establishment of these centers and also institutes is the quest for fostering what we call interdisciplinary research and encourage collaborations across different fields so that we can able to address the complex problems that no single discipline can able to solve alone. The myriads of challenges affecting our world transcend traditional boundaries. Whether that is in health, technology, environmental, social justice, real progress requires collaborations across all disciplines. Our centers and institutes will break down silos, encourage partnerships among the diverse fields, ensuring that we harness the full spectrum of expertise available within our university. These centers and institutes will also empower our students and faculty by providing them with access to cutting-edge research equipment, mentoring opportunities, and platform for showcasing their research and innovations. We believe that by investing in our academic community, we are not only enhancing the individual careers, but also elevating the entire institution. Our students will be equipped with the skills and knowledge. We are not only enhancing individuals, as I said earlier, we make sure that our students will be equipped with knowledge that is needed to address the global challenges, and our faculties will also support the pursuit of impactful research that will change lives. Moreover, these centers of excellence and institutes will be instrumental in strengthening our ties with our communities. We are committed to ensuring that our research and innovation translate into tangible benefits for our society. By engaging with science councils, local organizations, government departments, industry leaders, funding agencies here and elsewhere, we will ensure that our work is relevant, responsive, and impactful. Together, we can create solutions that address the needs of our communities and contribute to the greater good of humanity. Now, I would like to focus on a core of today's celebration, the 5 centers of excellence and 4 institutes that we are launching. Each of these centers of excellence and research institutes reflect a pillar of Univer's vision, which is committed to scholarship, community upliftment, and global relevance. Each will open new avenues for our students and researchers and also the society that we serve. The establishment of these institutions reflect our commitment to strengthening research capacity of our university and nurturing the talent. We are confident that these newly established research platforms will not only elevate the quality and the scope of our scientific inquiry, but also create opportunities for mentoring the next generation of researchers. Their work will contribute to the shaping of policies, informing best practices, and driving innovation at both local, national, and also international level. As stakeholders to these initiatives, we reaffirm our strong commitment to support and nurturing these newly established centers of excellence and institutes as a vital engine of innovation, knowledge creation, and also social progress. We pledge to provide sustained support for infrastructure, advanced laboratories, and digital resources to ensure that these centers and institutes can operate at the highest standards. Now let me go just to each of centers and institutes just for me to acknowledge their history in a very brief way. The Ismail Mohammed Center for Human and People's Rights was established in the year 2001 and revived in 2022. And this center focuses on the research and advocacy in human rights, environmental law, and also social justice. Named after the first Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court, the center serves as a multidisciplinary hub for advancing research and advocacy on social, environmental, and also human rights law. It collaborates with various organizations and contributes to policy discussions locally and to the African Union and also to the United Nations. The Ismail Mohammed Center for Human and People's Rights will also host the newly acquired DSTI NRF Research Chair on Climate Change and the Rule of Law. The Eskia Mphahlele Center for National and Global Dialogue was also established just this year in 2025 as a pioneering hub for promotion of Afrocentric scholarship and transformative education and inclusive dialogue. Named in honor of the Afrocentric intellectual legacy of Professor Eskia Mphahlele, the center is dedicated to advancing African heritage and also indigenous knowledge systems by anchoring the debates that reshape the global knowledge production. The Eskia Mphahlele Center for National and Global Dialogue seeks to promote African heritage and indigenous knowledge systems, countering the Eurocentric dominance in higher education while empowering local communities. The MER Mathivha Center for African Languages, Arts and Culture is aimed at promoting African languages, arts and culture, as I said. And this also was named in honor of Professor Machaya Edward Razumisani Mathivha. The center embodies a legacy of scholarship activism dedicated to advancing African identity, linguistic diversity, and cultural heritage. The MER Mathivha Center for African Languages, Arts and Culture aims to reverse the marginalization of indigenous languages and cultural expressions by embedding indigenous knowledge systems into education, research, and policy. The center aims to promote multilingual inclusivity, ensuring that communities access knowledge in their mother tongues while positioning African arts and culture at the center of academic and social transformation. The Center of Excellence in Mass Spectrometry, established also this year in 2025, addresses the lack of high-end analytical infrastructure within the historically disadvantaged institutions. This center integrates advanced technology to address complex challenges in various fields, including metabolomics, environmental monitoring, and also the drug discovery, while promoting African traditional medicine. The Center of Excellence in Mass Spectrometry aims to develop the next generation of scientists and innovators, thereby strengthening research excellence and also community engagement. With this mission to drive African innovation through the advanced mass spectrometry, the center addresses critical infrastructure gaps and redefines Africa's role in the global science, delivering also impact in health, environment, food security, and sustainable development. The Vuwani Science Resource Center was established in 2005, and it served a rural-based hub dedicated to advancing the STEM education. Located in Vuwani Township, the center provides learners and teachers from mainly under-resourced schools with enhanced access to modern scientific tools for robotics and also for professional development. The center is one of the few initiatives of its kind in rural South Africa, which seeks to address critical gap by improving laboratory exposure and providing mentorship and improving the performance in mathematics and also science. The center has significant impact with learners outperforming their peers and receiving national and also great rewards nationally. I now move to talk a little bit about our institute, and I'll start with the African Musicology Institute. This institute was established right this year, 2025, and it aims to be a leading global hub for African musicology research, innovation, education, and cultural expression. Operating in partnership with Kabarak University in Kenya, the African Musicology Institute focuses on decolonizing and globalizing African music scholarship through research, degree programs, and also community engagement. Its strategic activities will, amongst others, include the hosting of the biannual African Musicology conferences, publication of scientific work, running of the Univen African Music Fixed Festival, and also the establishment of the world-class facilities, such as the recording studios and also the music laboratories just here at the university. The Institute for Pathogen and Global Health Research is a cross-disciplinary platform established in the year 2025 to advance global understanding of microbial infections. It builds on the key milestones such as the South African Medical Research Council and Univen Antimicrobial Resistance and Global Health Research Unit and the Solidarity Fund supported pathogen surveillance project. The Institute for Pathogen and Global Health Research will also host the newly acquired DSTI NRF Research Chair on antimicrobial resistance and global health. Guided by the University One Health niche area, the Institute conducts large-scale studies, including child and adult cohorts on antimicrobial resistance, wastewater-based pathogen, and also HIV drug resistance. The Institute will also advance our understanding of microbial infections through the interdisciplinarity research, which it focuses on antimicrobial resistance, pathogen resilience, surveillance, drug discovery, and the child health, community advocacy, policy, and human capital development and community engagement. Like other newly established university institutes, the Institute for Pathogen and Global Health Research is a semi-autonomous entity. It emphasizes the postgraduate training, capacity building, and inclusive collaboration while advancing the national and also the global health priorities, such as the Sustainable Development Goals and also the African Union, the Agenda 2063. Its sustainability strategy is based on a competitive grant funding, the long-term partnership, and also the institutional alignment. The Institute for Rural Development is also a pioneering institution in the field of rural development and social liberation science. Established in the year 2000, this institute aims to mobilize grassroots communities, traditional leaders, municipalities, local community-based organizations, and scholars to co-create solutions that transform rural economies and restore Africans' dignity and drive what we call inclusive development. Its work integrates the African heritage, indigenous knowledge systems, One Health, and modern innovation to ensure locally relevant and globally impactful transformation. Furthermore, the Institute for Rural Development leads postgraduate training in rural development, thereby nurturing Africa's next generation of scholars and innovators. The O.R. Tambo Institute of Governance and Policy Studies was also established in the year 1999 and reimagined in the year 2025. This institute focuses on advancing governance and capacity building. The institute contributes to the postgraduate training, the short courses, and applied research to support policymakers, public officials, and also communities in addressing governance challenges. Anchored in the values of the legacy of Oliver Reginald Tambo, the Institute seeks to become a continental hub for evidence-based policy making and also for governance innovation. It addresses the persistent challenges such as weak policy implementation, corruption, and limited capacity in public institutions by conducting what we call applied research and providing leadership training and establishing platform for sustained policy dialogues. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, and as we embark on this exciting journey of unveiling of these centers and also institutes, let us remember that this is only the beginning. The true measure of our success will not be in the accolades we were going to receive, but the impact of science and the positive change that we're going to bring about. I want to invite each of you, our students and our staff, to embrace the opportunity and contribute your ideas, passion, and dedication to make these centers and institutes a truly exceptional initiative. Thank you for being here today to celebrate this significant milestone in our university's journey as we forge the new future. Together, let us build a future of excellence, innovation that is impactful. I thank you.
That was the Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the University of Venda. Let's give him another big round of applause. So we are to unveil the 9 centers of excellence and institutes. So the Vice Chancellor will does, and we also invite the COO, and leaders of the respective centers of excellence and institutes. For Mayor. O Professor Neutal. O Magobe. So can we ululate? Maybe Prof. Abantu sanena bo visere bolentu. First one, Ismail Mahomed Center for Human and People's Rights, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal on 20 November 2025. The second one, Eskia Mphahlele Center for National and Global Dialogue, officially launched by the Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal in November 2025. Mathivha Center for African Languages, Arts and Culture, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. Center of Excellence in Mass Spectrometry, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. Vuwani Science Resource Center, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. African Musicology Institute, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. Institute for Pathogen and Global Health Research, officially launched by Professor Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. Institute for Rural Development, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. Tambo Institute of Governance and Policy Studies, officially launched by Professor Bernard Ntambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, on 20 November 2025. These are all the center. May I request Institute to ascend the stage for a picture with the Vice Chancellor and other dignitaries. So let's ascend the stage. Are you done?
No, I was. Oh, okay.
While we are taking this picture, I would like to invite the executive deans to also ascend the stage. Professor Potgieter, Professor Mor.
I'm not a friend of my enemy. I will never ever friend with my enemy because they don't love me. They will never ever cry for me. Chabondo sese, masaya kore. They will never ever fight for me. They will never ever cry for me. Chabondo sese. Visa mano se akore. Then the number one, position one, everything number one, money number one, blessings number one, zote number one, zote zbekane. Then the number one, position one, everything number one, money number one, blessings number one. Zote zbekane.
So let's give our cultural performers a big round of applause. Okay, while we are moving to the next item, messages of support, there are other partners who couldn't make it to this event, so we have recorded messages. So before I invite those who are here to come to the fore, I would like to request our colleagues at the back to share with us 3 recorded messages. They are very, very short. I think they are around 3 to 5 minutes. So Anza, are we ready?
African musicology is confluence of 2 happenstances or instances. One, the Vice-Chancellor of Univen, Professor Nthabeleni, had some interactions with the former Chancellor, Dr. Motlanthe. And then Motlanthe loves music, by the way. So they were asking each other what has happened to the music department. Now that discussion led to Professor Nthabeleni asking questions as to what happened, and he was looking for ideas and answers until he went to Kabarak and saw a thriving music department. Then he said, but we should be having this at home. So I gave talks in several fora until I met a journal called African Musicology Online. Then when I looked at the journal, I thought, the title is enticing, it speaks to my idea. Then I sought out the editor of the journal. It so happened to be Professor Wanyama. Then we shared this idea of African musicology. And then I was invited to give a keynote address in Kenya. And then that led to so many things happening in the idea of African musicology manifesting. Then finally, I met with the Vice-Chancellor together with Professor Wanyama, and we matched the 2 aspirations, and the idea of African musicology was born.
The University of Venda provides the full institutional framework, academic and administrative infrastructure, and deep community networks within Limpopo. Kabarak University, on the other hand, extends our continental reach, providing critical publication expertise through Utafiti Academic Press, facilitating faculty exchange, and opening access to vital East African networks.
We are about to launch African musicology along many other institutions and centers at Univen. The idea is taking shape. We believe come 2026, all systems will be in place, and then we will be able to now interface with the rest of the continent and the diasporas.
African Musicology Institute brings together African scholars from Africa and the diaspora to come together to collaborate. There's a huge need for Africa to become one. The business sectors are already ahead of us by talking about free trade zones amongst Africans. And the politicians are already flirting with the idea of having borderless countries.
The music department is one of the critical components, but because of where we are geographically, we've been a small section or department, I would say. Currently, as the section, we only offer the certificate, which is your higher certificate in music. And then maybe to take you just a bit back, we used to offer quite a vibrant BMAS degree, but after the reviewing of programs in the university, there was a need to fade out that program, and but now that created a gap, and as a result, we are in the moving towards introducing resuscitating the music program by introducing the new BMAS that talks to where we are in terms of the environment, and that will also come in the form of introducing your postgraduate studies, which is your master's and your PhD.
The success of the African Musicology Institute relies on strategic partnerships and diversified funding. Our primary partnership with Kabarak University in Kenya enhances publications, faculty exchange, and joint supervision, which connects us to East African networks. We maintain ties with community partners, including royal leadership and cultural custodians. The Army's financial sustainability relies on government grants at 50%, private partnerships at 30%, and an endowed NRF research chair plus revenue from events. This approach ensures stability and builds legacy for African musicology.
The plans for the future is to really connect the entire continent. This is how we're going to do it. We get all the academics, all the musicologists, or all scholars concerned with the philosophy of African music to work together. Whether they come from film or sociology, but as long as they've got the interest in pushing the idea of African musicology or African scholarship, we want them to come and lend a hand. We've got strategies how that is going to unfold.
Together, let us champion a new era for African musicology, sounding Africa's wisdom across borders.
Welcome to African Musicology Institute at the University of Venda.
Good day to everyone. It really is my privilege to be Mahomed Center for Human and People's Rights being recognized.
Hello everyone, my name is Oluwatoyin Adejonwo. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Climate Mobility Africa.
Hello everyone, I'm Melanie Murcott and I am an adjunct associate professor at the University of Cape Town, as well as the chairperson of the Environmental Law Association of South Africa. And in my absence and being unable to attend the launch of Centers of Excellence and Institutes at the University of Venda, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to all of the institutes that are being and centers that are being launched and celebrated today. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge the Ismail Mahomed Center for Human and People's Rights, led by Professor Ademola Jegede. We have had the privilege of collaborating over many years with the center, and just want to acknowledge the wonderful work that it does on the continent, and also acknowledge Prof. Jegede for his incredible contributions in the field of human rights, including around climate justice, which is a critical problem of our time. Again, I'm very sorry that I'm not there to celebrate on this very auspicious occasion, and wish you a wonderful time as you celebrate. The center recently collaborated with the Environmental Law Association of South Africa for our annual conference that took place at University of Venda during October. We were so excited to have around 10 universities attending the conference, as well as community members, civil society organizations, and other interested people from industry and so on. It was such a wonderful event, such a privilege and an honor to be hosted by the Center for Human and People's Rights. And it was just a huge success, and I'd really like to acknowledge the Dean as well for his gracious hosting of us during the conference. And then finally, I'd like to acknowledge that the center is one of the only centers in the world, if not the, has a focus not only on individual rights, but also on people's rights. And this is something that really distinguishes the center and makes it truly African, as the idea of human rights is often seen as an individualistic endeavor, as a liberal endeavor. But in Africa, human rights are about concerns for communities and collectives, and the center is actively driving that agenda, recognizing that we are people because of other people, and that our human rights are relational rather than individual. So apologies once again that I cannot be there with you, and wishing you a wonderful event, and congrats.
Good day to everyone. It really is my privilege to be together with you, although I am absent, being here in cold Germany. It is really a day of celebration to see the Ismail Mahomed Center for Human and People's Rights being recognized for its excellence. My name is Frans Viljoen. I'm a professor in international human rights law at the University of Pretoria. I also currently hold a South African Research Foundation's chair in international constitutional law, and that's at the Department of Public Law. But I think you can see my t-shirt here. I am still proudly associated with the Center for Human Rights at the University of Pretoria. And I mention that because that is where I really got to know the current director of the Ismail Mahomed Center, Professor Ademola Jegede. Because as much as centers may be excellent, they are also people. And it's the people and the team together, I think, that should be also recognized for the accomplishments of the Ismail Mahomed Center. I would want to mention three aspects of the excellence of the Ismail Mahomed Center. The first relates to the innovative and excellent teaching that the staff and the center is engaged in. We at the Center for Human Rights are privileged to work with the University of Venda and the Ismail Mahomed Center on a master's program in human rights and democratization in Africa, where our students spend a semester at Venda, at the center. And I can vouch for the fact that we are very proud partners in this endeavor, and the students have consistently only had high praise for the time they spent in Venda and the supervision they received for their research papers. The second is the work on climate justice. I think the Ismail Mahomed Center has established itself as a center working on social justice broadly, but its work on climate justice really has set it apart. And nothing, I think, is more visible than the work that also found its way to the publication of the journal, the African Climate Law and Justice Journal, which is published by the Pretoria University Law Press. I think it is really one thing to be engaged in the academic work, but it is another to really set oneself apart by being at the forefront of the knowledge generation. And this is exactly what the Ismail Mahomed Center is doing through its work in respect of this publication. And then lastly, I will focus on the linkages, the profile, the international relationships that the center is also engaged in. Well, obviously in South Africa, it's part of our network. I mentioned it already, a network of 13 African universities. But recently, the center also became a member of the Association of Human Rights Institutes, ARI, which is a global network of almost 100 human rights institutes at universities. So we are very fortunate that the Ismail Mahomed Center has joined this network, and also I think looking forward to working with it in this very difficult time, this time of anti-rights agendas being fomented across the globe. The role of institutes, centers like the Ismail Mahomed Center for Human and People's Rights is even more pronounced than before. So we look forward to what it will and should accomplish in the years to come, despite the difficult times, or perhaps because of the difficult times in which we find ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So before we move to the next item, I would like to indicate that in our endeavor to improve our performance as the institution, we are currently conducting a perception survey. So we would like to encourage all of you to assist us in giving us feedback about how we are doing as the University of Venda. So as the speakers will be coming, the colleagues at the back will be projecting the QR code. So it's already on the screen, where we are all requested to complete a very short survey so that it can help us to identify areas where we need to improve as the institution. So on that note, I would like to invite the following speakers who will come and deliver messages of support. Professor Wanyama from Kabarak University, Dr. Zwane from South African Medical Research Council, and Mr. Mazibuko from the National Research Foundation. In that order, please.
Vice-Chancellor, sir, I wish to request that I ride on the already established protocol. My name is Professor Melitas Nyongesa Wanyama from Kenya, specifically Kabarak University. I'm here on behalf of AMI, African Musicology Institute, Kabarak University campus. I'm aware that my counterpart here is Professor Jeff Madimabe Mapaya, and I have been working very closely with him since this idea started. I want to underscore the fact that a lot has been said through that video about African Musicology Institute, and I just want to celebrate with all of us about this idea. African Musicology Institute is airborne. It is not, this is not its birthday today. It is just, it's a confirmation of its growth and development. I just want, before I go further, to bring greetings from Kenya and Kabarak University, and specifically from my Vice-Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplankat, who sent me to extend his greetings to you. Do you receive them? Thank you. It was not long since I was here for the graduation ceremony, and I think we were in this hall, and now it looks different because it is for a different purpose. It looks beautiful, and I'm glad now to be here. That time I was not able to speak, but every thing has its own time. So thank you for giving me this chance to speak. I want to invoke two African sayings, one in Swahili and another one in Yoruba, or referring to a Yoruba saying. You know, that those are nuggets of wisdom. When the keynote speaker spoke and the Vice-Chancellor spoke, I got the information that we should not go far for us to make a collaboration that works. We need to look closer to where we are, and that is why we support African Musicology Institute, grounded or supported by two universities, Kabaraka University, Kenya, and University of Venda, South Africa. The Yoruba people have a saying, I will translate in English, saying that what you are looking for in Shokoto or Sokoto is in Shokoto, which means what you are looking for elsewhere in a town or a place called Sokoto is in your trousers pocket, just with you. So that applied to African Musicology Institute reflects how we have worked very closely with Kabarak University, and in reality, everything has worked very well than if we collaborated with baby institutes which are hundreds of miles or thousands of miles apart. For example, one of the people who spoke there, Dr. Kimani, graduated here on this stage as a product of Professor Mapaya and I supervising him. He was a Kenyan registered in South Africa in University of Venda. You can see that reality, isn't it? And it worked in record time. The third year, and he graduated. Others are going to follow. Right now, Professor Mapaya and I are supervising a student called Shofola from University of Ibadan, registered in Kabaraka University, supervised by a Kenyan professor and a South African professor at the University of Venda, from an army affiliate university, University of Ibadan, which is having a collaboration with Kabaraka University and University of Venda. I was there one time, and at the same time I met Professor Chari from there. So you can see that kind of working together, and it is a reality. It's not about signing documents, greeting each other and talking, but it's working. We can see the products. Another saying is from the Swahili. They say siku njema huonekana asubuhi. A good day is normally known in the morning. And that is true of African Musicology Institute. Already a lot has been done and is going to be done. It's only yesterday that I and Professor Mapaya made had a meeting at Tapombeki African School of Public and International Affairs in Johannesburg. It is linked to UNISA. And when we got a brief, we had about a 2-hour meeting. We discovered we had a lot in common, and they wondered even where we have been. And they said there's also a music and culture component, especially rethinking music, scholarship, and packaging music for many purposes, including culture, tourism, business, religion, history, and all those other areas. African Musicology Institute is grounded on the fact that African music in its nature is multifunctional, and it is not an entity as in song and dance alone. It permeates every other field in human life and socio-economic development, and that is where we are heading to. Apart from the MOU between Kabaraka University and University of Venda, we have also gone ahead to sign a memorandum of understanding between AMI and the RILM, for example, an international repertoire of music literature, where all our students and staff can access that literature for research. And it is a digital collection of tools for advanced music research. To end my message, I would like to note that there is, according to me, there would not have been any other better partner than University of Venda, given my studies in African music or musicology. There was a researcher called John Blacking who worked in this area, and his document, whenever we were studying ethnomusicology, we would come across John Blacking's research on Venda children's music. And it was way back in 1956. And he talked about Nyimbo Zavana and Chikona dance, etc. But I was wondering why this institution is not leading in that area, because somebody traveled all the way from Britain, did all documentation, and then it ended there. And that relates to what Professor Mapaya was talking about, what the VC was asked. To this end, I'm here to say that I am very sure I'm in the right place, and I'm doing the right thing with Professor Mapaya. And the next time we appear here, we'll be having a long list of what we have achieved together. It will not be so long. As Dr. Otombo has said, he told me that I should now activate my citizenship for South Africa because I have been here several times. I'm thinking about it, and it will be done soon than later. Thank you for listening to me.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. My name is Dr. Vuwani. I'm coming from the Medical Research accountable for the operations of the extramural units portfolio. It is truly an honor to stand before you today on what is a landmark occasion for the future of research in South Africa. On behalf of the medical research, I extend our warmest congratulations and enthusiastic support to the University of Venda on the launch of the new centers of excellence and the institutes. We are here to celebrate the formal recognition of scientific maturity, We are here to celebrate the formal recognition of scientific maturity, sustained impact, and national necessity. For decades, the Medical Research Council has championed research excellence, driving innovation in the direction that addresses the burden of disease that is facing our country on a daily basis. Prof. Besong's unit and 23 other extramural units are the vital instrument that the MRC uses to execute this mandate. We are very proud of his achievement. The transformation from unit to fully fledged institute is a big milestone. It signifies that the unit has not only conducted world-class, high-impact leadership and sustained capacity in terms of training of students and research outputs, etc. But it also shows that the unit is at its pinnacle, and it requires that extra effort as well as support is given to the unit. To all the centers of institutes and to all the centers of the institutes, the SMRC is fully invested in your success. We expect that your research will not only lead in research outputs, but it will also transition to knowledge, taking discoveries into policy and ultimately into changing the lives of ordinary South Africans. The challenges of South Africans are currently immense, but with institutes and centers like these, we know that we will be driving the research agenda that will confront them and ensure that the lives of ordinary South Africans are made better on a daily basis. You have earned this moment. We celebrate you. We celebrate your accomplishments, and we are very proud of you. And we are very proud of the university for this big milestone. Congratulations once again, and may you continue to discover and to inspire. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Frank Mazibugo from the National Research Foundation from a department called Strategic Investment, Innovation and Impact. A very great greeting to esteemed colleagues and partners in the room. It is with immense pleasure and excitement that as the NRF, we extend our warmest congratulations on the official launch and inauguration of the University of Venda Centers of Excellence Institute. This momentous milestone is a testament to the vision of every individual. The establishment of Excellence and Institute marks a significant step forward in your collective pursuit of advancing cross-disciplinary research, fostering innovation in service learning, and many other areas. The creation of these Centers of Excellence and Institute is not merely the opening of a new facilities, it is the beginning of a new chapter in innovation, collaboration, and knowledge sharing. By centralizing expertise and standardizing best practices in these crucial domains, these institutes poised to drive breakthrough research and development, to develop national capacity in a scarce or important field, serve as a beacon of excellence and an inspiration to the wider community. This success is a testament to the dedication, creativity, and resilience of your extraordinary faculties, staff members, and students who tirelessly work to support your mission and your larger community. Together, you have made significant strides in innovative research and technology for societal impact, increasing student enrollment, and enhancing digital accessibility for learning. These accomplishments are more than just statistics. They represent your commitment to excellence, social justice, innovation, and inclusivity, and your shared vision to be a force for positive change in the world. We have always appreciated your dedication to quality and service in the DSTI NRF Center for Indigenous Knowledge Systems. The University of Venda has been a consortium partner since the awarding of this center in 2014 and played a very key role in achieving the full COE status. University of Venda also played a very significant role as one of the nodes for the DSTI NRF Center of Excellence in Mineral and Energy Resource Analysis, which in short is called CEMERA. DSTI, National Theoretical and Computational Sciences Institute. Furthermore, this particular university participated in the DSTI NRF COE Innovation Biology as well as Plant Health Biotechnology. Your resilience and strategic planning throughout this journey has been impressive, and we believe that your involvement along with other partners has been instrumental in transitioning and re-engineering the Center of Excellence in Indigenous Knowledge System, as it has now recently been recommended to become a national institute. It's because of your contribution. On behalf of the National Research Foundation, we offer our full support and best wishes for a future filled with prosperity, exciting venture growth. We look forward to witnessing the incredible impact these centers of excellence and institute will undoubtedly have in exploring future opportunities for collaboration and what we also now call purposeful partnerships, internally as well as with external stakeholders. I am unashamed to boldly say the world is looking to this university for leadership and innovation, and I am confident that your continued commitment will lead to even more accomplishment. We're wishing you the best in building successful and enduring legacy of excellence. And from the NRF, we convey warmest congratulations and best wishes for your continued success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give all the speakers a big round of applause. His Majesty Bo Tobere MPGHR Apa University una pedza dzononanga manda. Zvino hedzi dzipedza dziva dzoiterwa machudeni ava vonokuita agriculture. Zvino nendorali arali ndangapingulai arikoni uri ribvise pedza edzi risvikise yangeni rwanani tavani. Zvino ngauraro ndoumbela vafuwi bo dhokotela jeji chifularo vada varisvikisela tavani.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard it, His Majesty Toberabo MPGHR has graced this occasion. And for him to come here and give us a royal pronouncement, our cultural protocol dictates that one of his subjects, one of his junior traditional leaders should usher him up the stage. And I can't do it alone. We have to be together. You have to join me. And as we do it, Vavanna vatoruba and ladies will ululate. Vafumakazi valiza mifululu as I request him to ascend the stage and come and give you a royal pronouncement. Inenga chivendarari mazviwa. Tovela vambi vatuzwa. Onoamba ndirini. Zvino ndidotohumbera nga uditukufadza uri baba Venda vazvidziva uri zviitiswa hani vatuse vane vasazvidive, as I humbly request him to ascend the stage and come and give you his royal pronouncement. Hallelujah. Chivavala cha shangu dadala mavala mbila lo tombe Oma Budava de Vatu Seri Niketawa.
Good afternoon. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, Professor NTHAMBELENI, distinguished guests, community leaders, centers of excellence and institute managers and scholars in out midst. Diabaresh. Bozaga upikolo muzio nditoto wanazo nabu principal. Mr. Program Director, today marks a defining chapter in the life of the University of Venda, in the life of every traditional authority, every village, every community that looks to the University of Venda with hope, optimism, and expectation. For today reminds us education is more than just personal development. It reminds us that education is also about igniting light. It is about cultivating capabilities. It is enabling human growth. It is quiet yet powerful force that moves community forward. We often say in Chivenda, alukwate fezi runungu, lukwata runatandangangu. Program Director, it is true that alone our strength is limited. But together, when we learn on one another, we rise behind measures. The University of Venda have become that central pool of our community. The university became our steady post of our support that strengthens us, that elevates dreams, that anchors progress. The Center Excellence and Institute you unveil today represent not just growth, but a deliberate international advancement, a bold step towards sustainable development, profound resolve towards prosperity shared by all. Peter Drucker once said, I quote, "The best way to predict your future is to create it," close quote. Vice-Chancellor and Principal, you and your leadership, you are creating future through these centers of excellence and institutes you have chosen. Creation over chance, vision over certifications, action over uncertainty. For this, we honor you, and as our people say, iremanga lumwembe vanhu mulindi wavuya wadala. You are making your mark slowly but surely. We have seen your efforts, we witness your discipline, and we appreciate the needs of progress you planned through unwavering purposes. Margaret Fuller reminds us, I quote, "If you have knowledge, let others light their candles in it," close quote. Today, as the University of Venda, you are lightening the candles of generation to come. These centers of excellence and institute are not merely academic structures. They are beacons, they are catalysts, they are reservoirs of knowledge prepared to flow into every corner of our society. They form a transformative vessel. They align scholarship with community realities, innovation with local needs, and opportunity with the aspiration of our people. To our communities and students, these centers of excellence and institutes are your sources of light. Ngazo Mirero 6 verse 23 ichiri funzo ndiluvona. Do not stand at a distance, approach them. Draw wisdom from them. Let their knowledge empower your households, strengthen your children, and guide your collective destiny. Today we witness the rise of these centers of excellence and institutes. They restore dignity, they ignite innovation, and shape a future where no one, not a single person, should be left behind. Together with your hard-working men and women of this university, we stand beside you, we support you, and we celebrate with you as you continue to build bridges between knowledge and community, between tradition and innovation, between vision and reality. We must forge a future propelled by knowledge, strengthened by unity, and enriched by progress that touches every life. In closing, I offer my sincere congratulations as you continue this journey to impact knowledge and restore hope in the lives of our people. We celebrate with you as you kindly light across our communities through the power of these centers and excellent and institutes. Ngiyabonga.
ndawana vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Hai ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Ne ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Ne ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Chinoni, ahe chinoni nyamulambo. Chinoni, ahe chinoni nyamulambo. Ndawana vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Hai ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Ndovona vana vachikotamba vachiimbelela chinoni vachiri tungununu nemulambo kumedza. Yebo tungununu, ahe tungununu, ahe tungununu nyamulambo. Chinoni, ahe chinoni nyamulambo. Venice. Aibo. Vatu vako borea gani? Ndiadzula pasi. Aivo. Andikale rodzula nyana. Asikale rodzula. You come around with your promises, thinking that you're fooling me. I don't need your explanations, honey. Just leave me alone. Oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Confusing me with your promises. Why don't you let me be? I don't need your explanation. Oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Leave. Oh yes, I'm tired of. I'm tired of promises, promises, cause they turn to lies, turn to lies. I'm tired of promises, promises, my baby, turn to lies, turn to lies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to invite the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Postgraduate Studies, Professor Fulpero Netswera, who will come and express our gratitude. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you very much. I see the clapping is coming. Thank you. Thank you. I think there is a problem with this mic. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Program Director, thank you, Dr. Gaga, again, for steering this program the way that you have done. We had a great function. We will not forget what transpired here today. UNIVEN has achieved tremendous success just by getting a team of researchers who are researching as groups in these particular centers and institutes that we have launched today. It's a great milestone. It has not been done before. I think we will look back and we will remember this day. But importantly, I also want to pass a message of thanks to a variety of individuals, and if I do leave you out, it is not intentional, it is not because I don't recognize you. There are many organizations who partner with the University of Venda, and there are equally individuals that continue to support us, and it is important that we acknowledge all of these role players, including but not limited to the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, the National Research Foundation, the South African Medical Research Council, the South African Space Agency, the Department of Higher Education, Department of Basic Education, SAQA, we had a representation talking here today. There are radio stations seated out there who have been conducting interviews with some of the research chairs, center directors and institute directors, and we really appreciate the work of popularizing the work that is being done by the University of Venda, by both UNIVEN FM as well as Parapara FM. We want to also say thank you to the leaders from the various municipalities, the executive from the municipality of Makhado, who's here, the executive from the municipality of Thulamela, Bembe, or any other municipalities whose names might not have been mentioned earlier on. We really appreciate your support, and we hope that we will continue to partner and make this university great. We also want to pass messages of thanks to the AMG group. I heard earlier on that the head of the group was here. If he's still here. Yes. Thank you very much for coming through and for supporting us. We really, really appreciate this. We want to say thank you to members of the executive of the university for steering the ship towards this particular direction. This is a very good direction. These are still waters. We hope that we will continue in this particular direction and make UNIVEN known throughout the world. We want to thank our academics, our professors, the heads, the directors of those centers and the institutes, because without you, obviously, there will be no launch here today. It is you who makes us shine as the university. We want to thank students, the SRC president here, and all other students who are here today to celebrate with us this important day. We want to equally say thank you to ladies and gentlemen here today. And we want once again to say to Thobele, MMCALC, thank you, and all the people who accompanied you at this important gathering. Karulube. Nda. The University of Venda has a very important vision, and this, I think, is a very unique vision. A vision that says the University of Venda will be leading in engaged scholarship. Now, for those who have tried to unpack engaged scholarship, you will agree with me that what we have just witnessed today, what we have done today, leads us towards engaged scholarship. Because what it says is that you do not remain an ivory tower. In other words, your learning, teaching, and research spaces are not these spaces here. It is out there in society, and these centers are meant specifically for that, so that the musicology will engage those who perform music out there. Traditional music, contemporary music. We want to know the genesis, the history of music in this particular continent. As I was saying to the director of this center, Professor Mapa, the Institute, Professor Mapa, it is important that we look at the history of music in Africa. We don't have a museum of music in the continent. The only 3 museums that exist are in Budapest, in Moscow. I can't recall where the third one is located, which means that the music of this continent cannot be found at one place. You cannot go there and see, hear, and listen. So we really hope that this institute will not only study, publish music, but ultimately we will be able to establish a museum of history here in South Africa on behalf of our continent. I believe it is highly doable. We also want to say that, and echoing the sentiments of the representative of SAQA, Dr. Mphahlele, that such terminologies as HDIs and HBUs will very soon be a thing of the past in relation to the University of Venda. Because what we have started here today will put us at a pedestal that will enable UniVen to compete with other universities that are highly impactful in the areas of research. And we will no longer refer to UniVen as a historically disadvantaged university. And as the head and executive of research at UniVen, I want to equally promise that these centers and institutes will be geared, they will run at a gear, a different gear than everybody else, and we will set targets that are measurable. We will make sure that they perform as expected, so that this launch does not go in history as a futile exercise. We want to make sure that these institutes and centers are performing at a level equivalent to those that are high performers throughout the world and in other universities. We want to make sure that UniVen reap the rewards associated with the investment that we have just made here today and into the near future. But we also want them to be highly sustainable so that they produce graduates, masters and doctoral, and they be the center and hub for postdoctoral research work, but they equally also produce publications, patents, and commercialized entities we really will do our best and go out of our way to make sure that this becomes a reality. I want to thank everyone once again for making time to come and celebrate with us this particular launch. But I also want to call upon you to continue to support these leaders and the academics who will be associated with those centers and institutes. They need our continuous encouragement and support. Thank you very much, Program Director. Nda.
Thank you so much, Professor Metswera. Let's appreciate him again. So this is how we conclude our event. And now that we are going to have lunch, I would like to request that after lunch we should all remain, and this is an instruction from the Vice-Chancellor and Principal. We would like to have different categories of pictures on the stage. So COO, this is the instruction that we got from the Vice-Chancellor and Principal. So we are now going to have lunch. And there are colleagues who are putting on, what do you call these things, scarves. So there are colleagues who are putting on red scarves. So we would like to request that you remain where you are seated. They'll come and usher you to the respective serving points. So in the meantime, the band will be entertaining us. Thank you so much.
Innego, oh, baby.